I had one thing, which is actually, it's a question that came to my mind when I was watching the Fighter and the Kid podcast or whatever it's called now. Do you think there is shame as a man in admitting that you do steroids? Because obviously I think
for me, there would be. Not for every community of men, though. Certainly. I don't think that's the case.
Yeah. Do you think there's shame for a woman getting implants?
I think that there is.
Interesting.
A little bit, depending on the community.
Yeah.
Well, but also, by the way, like the answer here is depends on I could generalize by city and by socioeconomic class, but man, woman, I think is too broad. Some guys don't give a damn about steroids.
Yeah.
Like,
I was just thinking about it because Brendan Schaub admits on the podcast to doing steroids. And at first I was like, oh, why does he bother doing that? Like, he's an elite athlete. He's already married. He's already in good shape. And I had a judgment on it. And then he goes on to talk about how Frank Grillo, Hugh Jackman, The Rock, all these guys are doing steroids and just lying about it and going on talk shows saying that the secret is chicken and rice.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I actually kind of respect that he's saying that at least he comes out and he's just like, yeah, I'm doing steroids. This guy I work out with is doing steroids. It's like, okay. The honesty of it, I realize, is so rare. There's so many people who will go out and just lie on talk shows. There must be some stigma that Hollywood celebrities feel
100%,
about
100%
being on this stuff, but then they go on this stuff because the demands for them are to look a certain way.
Yeah, that's not to say that it should or shouldn't be shameful, but the behavior of people is that it is a secret. It is that they will deny in the face of evidence. And I'm sorry, Rock, you're on steroids. Like,
also, by the way,
Hugh Jackman.
I think one of the ways that people get around this is like how they define steroids.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not a steroid, maybe it's TRT, or maybe HGH doesn't count as a steroid. But like, you're on something that supplements.
He was an elite athlete, an incredible wrestler, and at age 35, he put on the most muscle of his life. It's just like you hadn't been lifting weights hard before that when you were a football player or when you were a wrestler. I mean,
there's no evidence where this is just an opinion.
I feel totally safe. I feel totally safe with this. Hugh Jackman too. I mean, look at him as Wolverine in the first one. It's like
that is hilarious. If you look at it side by side,
that's a guy who works out sometimes. Look at him in The Wolverine. I don't know if he's ever said it, but come on. It's just
well. And so I guess my thing, which I was reflecting on, I didn't understand, is why is there a stigma around saying you're on steroids? Because you're not hurting anyone else. It's not like secondhand smoking cigarettes into a baby's face. Like, okay, maybe it has health ramifications for yourself and you're going to have a heart attack at a later age. So what?
I think, well,
that's a choice an adult can make. I guess
think
what I'm saying.
You're supposed to pretend that hard work and dedication did it. You're supposed to pretend you didn't take the easy route.
Well, steroids don't just make you look like that. So
Sure.
it's kind of the real truth is I did work hard. I did have a great diet and I did supplement this with something external besides food and hard work.
I think I imagine that it's anyone could do this as part of what they want to say. But like the barrier between you and this is simply hard work.
Well, I think that's the damaging part. I was realizing that's kind of the bullshit that is unfair because people who don't realize it's steroids just think that they're not working out enough or not eating the right food. And I think that probably creates a lot of insecurity or feelings of inferiority in people who wouldn't feel so bad if they just knew that there was also some sort of exogenous hormone involved that is creating that gap.
It's interesting because it's just, there's not a lot of talk of cosmetics. You mentioned plastic surgery. Like, I don't think that often is discussed.
Well, what's weird is having lived in Las Vegas, Rio de Janeiro, and LA, totally fine. No, there's no shame at all in having implants in those three cities. And maybe in the rest of the world, it's not like that. But in those three cities, people are straight up happy to tell you that.
I guess what I'm thinking of celebrities, and I guess I do watch a lot of celebrity interviews. I've never really heard them talk about
that's
like
fair.
their Botox regimen or their, when they're like, oh, but you look amazing in this movie. They always just talk about working out and diet. Like it's like, also, by the way, I don't know if you could tell, I've had my face lifted 3 times in the last 10
I'm
years.
on Botox. I also do that thing where they poke a bunch of holes in my face and I bleed. It's like the vampire, whatever it's called.
I suspect that it's also how you don't like to admit how much effort you put into vain and vanity achievements or that sort of stuff. But yeah, no, it definitely is, at least at that celebrity level, treated as if it's shameful because it is kept a secret. When it is, and this is the other thing, then I go to somewhere that's not LA and I look at people over the age of 40 and 50. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what happens to you.
That's what aging.
Not everyone has
looks
lips that are just like exploding, bursting at the seams. You almost lose track of what normal in certain neighborhoods and scenarios. You lose track of what a non-enhanced person.
Oh, living
like.
in Vegas is like that because not only do a much bigger percentage of women have implants, every billboard is a girl wearing almost nothing. Mm-hmm. And then you live there for a little bit and just get used to the fact that you see unnaturally large breasts everywhere you go on people and billboards and whatever. And it just you become numb to it, basically. Yeah. It's just a strange part of living there.
Vegas is a weird place, man. It's a desert that has out of nowhere these extravagant casinos and clubs and everything. It's a strange place.
It's also funny. They speaking of what's quote unquote acceptable or allowed, whoever came up with what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas made that city so much money because Vegas.
People still say that. That marketing campaign probably hasn't been out for, I don't know, 10, 20 years or something like that. And I still hear that.
But I'm saying there's casinos in other towns. There's nightclubs in other towns. Like XS Nightclub is a great nightclub. LA's got the same. New York's got the same. Miami's got the same. People come to Vegas and just think it's totally fine to cheat. It's totally fine to do drugs they would never do. Like all this behavior that they would think they would judge someone else for doing it in their hometown. And then they go to Vegas and do it themselves because they feel like societally and socially it's okay.
That is a brilliant tagline, which is like, if you really tap into the id of what a person wants, it's to do something and not have it count as them.
Yep.
That wasn't me. That was, you know what I mean? Like it's just so brilliant to create this space where nothing, it's like the purge, except for cheating on your significant other. You get one day where this is just totally allowed and isn't a reflection on you. And it's,
I think that marketing campaign made the city a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's not that different from other places.
Yeah. Hope that you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more like this and have us do more podcasts, we are 100% funded by our generous patrons. And if you'd like to contribute, there's a link in the description and we'll have one pop up on the screen right here so that we can do more podcasts where we have fun conversations and hopefully some deep ones like this. Either way, hope that you enjoyed the video and I will see you in the next one.